In June, we'll be deploying the rebuilt ROVER portal on a different platform to ensure that ROVER can continue to meet the department's standards and be best supported into the future. Although the new ROVER portal has generally been rebuilt like for like, you'll see that we've made some changes that could improve the user experience. For example, users will be able to submit complex applications faster due to changes we've made in applications extent of compliance section and by simplifying compliance information forms. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. There will be an overview of the changes to the extent of compliance pages in the rebuilt portal. I'll show you what the new compliance information forms look like, how to add the forms, and what you can expect to see in the rebuilt ROVER portal after it has been deployed in June. For example, if you have an existing draft application in ROVER and go to edit it after go live, or if you go to variant approval. I'll now take you through what you will see in ROVER when completing an application that requires the extent of compliance to be provided for Australian design rules. First, I will show you what you will see when you are completing the extent of compliance section for your application. The example I'm showing you on screen is a vehicle type approval application with a list of ADRs, but it will also look similar for some other application types. When selecting the extent of compliance for each ADR, you can now set all of them to full compliance with one click by clicking the blue Set Remaining to Full Compliance button. This should save you a lot of time. You can first click the button and then change the ADRs that aren't fully compliant to the correct option, or you can do it the other way around. First set the compliance option for ADRs that aren't fully compliant, and then click the button, and all the remaining ADRs will then have full compliance selected. For ADRs where full compliance isn't selected, you can provide the information in the free text field provided underneath the ADR and upload documents as well via the blue Manage Documents button. Now I'll show you the Model Reports Standards Extent of Compliance page. You can see on screen that they are now listed on their own page where it was previously found within the Extent of Compliance page. And the same with Model Report Standards Compliance Information page, which is now separate to the Compliance Information page. Next, I'll show you what the Compliance Information Form page looks like. In the current portal, there are two types of compliance information forms, generic and complex. ADR 3805 trailer brake systems and ADR 6202 mechanical connections between vehicles are examples of complex CI forms, whereas ADR 0201 side door latches and hinges and ADR 10 steering column are examples of generic CI forms. In the rebuilt ROVER portal, all compliance information forms are generic. I'm using a vehicle type approval application as an example of what a generic CI form will look like. When you click the Complete Compliance Information button, a mini form will appear. The new generic compliance information form now includes all the fields you need to complete in one form and has all the same fields as in the generic form with a couple of changes. In response to industry feedback, when you add a UN approval number, which you can see on the screen here, you now have a free text field only, whereas previously a predetermined format was required. Click on the blue Add UN Approval button to open the mini form and add the number, and then click Add. Once you've added the UN approval, you should see it in the form at the bottom. There are action buttons to the right of the listed UN approval, which will allow you to easily edit or remove it. The other change is that you can now add multiple component type numbers to a compliance information form. Click the Add Approval button, then enter the approval number and click Validate. You'll receive a confirmation message just below the Validate button in the green box you can see on the screen here. Scroll down on the form and click the Add button. Repeat this process to add additional approval numbers. Now I'll take you through some scenarios of what you can expect to see in the newly built ROVER portal in respect to CI forms. The first scenario I'll take you through is what happens when you open an existing draft application in the new ROVER portal. For example, when you have saved a draft application in the current portal and open it in the newly built ROVER portal in June. You are now seeing a compliance information form in the new portal. You can see down here, down on the left-hand side underneath ADR 0304, the word legacy in orange text. Any form that was created in ROVER before the rebuilt ROVER portal goes live will be marked legacy. You won't be able to open a legacy form or see or edit the data that you've added to the form fields. But if the CI form had a summary PDF, you will be able to download it and you will be able to see the document reference and the variants associated with that CI form. You will also be able to add and remove variants or remove the legacy compliance information form altogether. And you will be able to add a new generic compliance information form to that application. Here's a list of what I just mentioned. The next scenario I'll take you through is what you'll see in an application that you submitted and was under assessment before the new ROVER release, and then opened in the rebuilt portal. Similar to what I just showed you, you won't be able to open the form or see the data that was provided in the form fields. If you decide that you want to withdraw this application to amend it and resubmit it later, then it will be like opening a draft application that I showed you earlier. You will see the legacy CI forms, which you won't be able to see or edit the data, but you will be able to see the document reference and associated variants, which you will be able to add or remove. And you will be able to remove the legacy forms or add new CI forms as needed. Here I've listed what I've just showed you, which is what you can expect when you open a previously submitted application under assessment in the rebuilt ROVER portal. The last scenario I'm going to take you through is what happens when you go to vary an approval. When you vary an approval, you will see all the CI forms that were in the current version of your approval, and they will be marked as legacy if they were created before the go live. You will be able to add or remove variants associated with that form or remove the form altogether. On the other hand, if a compliance information form was created after the release, you will be able to open it and see the data that you added because you would have created it in the new generic CI form. You will also be able to update the variants or remove the form. On the screen, you'll now see the list of what you can and can't do in a vary application. And that concludes the demonstration of what you can expect to see in the rebuilt ROVER portal in the extent of compliance section and in CI forms.